Let's talk a little bit about electric transportation. I happen to, I think I first was introduced to you through I went to a screening of Who Killed the Electric Car, met Chelsea Sexton and the whole Plug-in America organization. That I believe is where your expertise is probably at its depth. Explain, if you would, what is the imperative to move from internal combustion engine transportation to electric? Are we, as some people would suggest, simply moving the source of the emissions from the tailpipe to the power plant, or what's really going on here?
Well, there are three main issues. There's the environmental issue, which is pretty much self-evident. Then there's the economy of sending billions of dollars out of the country to buy foreign oil. And then there's the national security issue of buying that oil from our enemies. But on the environmental side of it, the transference of the pollution to the smokestack as opposed to the tailpipe is true. You definitely are, to the extent that your electricity comes from dirty sources, you are transferring that pollution to the smokestack. Mm-hmm. However, the question should be not are you doing it, but how much of it are you transferring? And in every study I've seen, and there's been some 40 studies that have looked at the well-to-wheels pollution from a gas car versus an electric car, you have to have a grid mix of about 90 to 95% coal before you're even with the most efficient gas car, the Prius. Mm-hmm. And so at that point, you're just even. So worst case scenario, and there are only a handful of states back east that have that much coal in their grid mix. Worst case scenario, you're even on the environmental aspect, but you're way ahead on the economic because all of your energy dollars stay domestic, and you're way ahead on national security because you're not giving our enemies your money. So, and it's not a reason not to, the coal energy is not a reason to not buy an electric car and use one. It's a reason to get rid of the coal energy and replace it with renewable. Because the bottom line is, if you drive an electric car, you have a choice of where you get your electricity, for the most part. If you can put a solar system on your house, by all means, it's cheaper than grid electricity today. Mm-hmm. And if you can't do that, if you're a renter or your roof isn't good for solar, then demand from your utility a green energy option, wind energy. And then if you're supplying renewable energy to run your house, when you get an electric car, you'll be running your car on that same renewable energy.
That's fantastic.